are back with another one. So, I gotta tell you, this lens series is a pretty great series. I'd love for you to go back and check out the other videos. The little QR thingy is going to be right there, or just go back to my YouTube page. Check out those videos. I'm sure you'll love them. I enjoyed them. But today we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this baby right here. This is the 70-200. Now, mind you, Canon has always made a 70-200. They've always done the f4 and they've always done the 2.8, and they have done them very well. They were well constructed, well made, pristine lenses. Great stuff. But now, in the RF version, they've done it again. So, this lens is one of my favorite lenses. It is one of the best lenses that I own. It is one of the best that I love to use for specifically landscape, but I have used it for weddings, I have used it for portrait, I have used it for B-roll, whatever it is. And when I tell you that this lens is a must-have for most people. So, let me tell you a little bit about this lens, right? It has all of the features and everything that you could want in a lens. I think you'll have to correct me on this. Let me start with the con first. The only thing is that you can't put a extender on here. You have to do some research, but I want to say that's the only thing that you can't do with this lens is put an extender on it. However, this lens has focus length of 2.5 to infinity right here. It also has an autofocus manual focus. It also has a image stabilization you can turn on and off. It also has 3 stabilization modes. The first mode is for like bidirectional. The second mode is, of course, for unidirectional, one plane of field. And then the third mode is stabilization at the point of shooting. Now, it also has a locking mode at 70 millimeters. And this lens has 3 rings. Now, you can take this off, not a problem, the hood off, but it has a zoom ring that you can use. Now, a lot of people enjoy the zoom, the in-body zoom. It doesn't really make a difference to me. It is, don't get me wrong, give me one second. It is great. Like, the in-body zoom is great, but depending on what you're doing, it doesn't really make a difference, and I realize that it doesn't make a difference for me as a photographer and what I'm doing. And mind you, this is a f4, so that's okay. The second ring is for manual. It's for manual focusing. This third ring is you can program it inside of your camera, inside of your mirrorless cameras, to either be an ISO, where you change the ISO, change the f-stop, or change the shutter speed. My humble opinion, I love the way this looks with the diamond cuts wrapped around it for grip and for texture, but in truth, I don't use this, and I'm sure there are people that do use it. I just personally don't. So, I like the feature though. I like the fact that it's here if I do need it, but I don't use it for anything. And the best part about this lens specifically is the fact that this lens has a much smaller, it takes up much smaller space in your camera bag. It has less landscape, right? In comparison to the 2.8, which is about this much longer than this 70-200 f4, but it takes up a lot more less landscape than your other lenses that are 2.8. But this is a smaller lens. If you're looking for something minimalistic, if you're looking for something that takes up less room, this is the lens to go with. Also, if you are someone who loves the low light settings in the 2.8, this may not be the lens for you. However, if you're someone that's looking for a 70-200 that is $1,000 cheaper, let me say that again, $1,000 cheaper, this is a great lens because the bokeh that you may be looking for, you will get with this lens. You can get it if you're taking portraits, for example. If you're shooting at a 2.8 and you're focusing on the eye, which is what most portrait photographers should be doing, you can focus on the eye at a 2.8. Anything past the plane of field of your eye will be blurry. That's not the way you want to take portraits. You want their face to have full clarity in it. So, most cases, most portrait photographers won't tell you to take it at a 2.8. The ones who are really professional, they're going to be taking their photos at an f4 or an f5.6, and they're going to be adjusting their lighting in according to what their f-stop is, not the other way around. Because from your eye, you want everything to be in focus all the way up to your ear, even your hair. So, this would be a perfect lens for portrait photography. This is also an amazing lens if you're doing weddings as well, because it's the same thing with portraits, right? Where you will see a photo taken, but then everything will be blurry behind them. You want the entire person to be with full clarity. You want everything to be clear, unless you're going for a different type of imagery, right? If you're taking a picture of the wing or the wedding band or something, and you want everything behind that to be blurry, that's one conversation. However, for portraits, for landscape, for concerts, for anything where you want the person looking at the photo to be able to have an idea about the background, you want them to have and feel the texture, to be able to get a sense of the energy that was at the event or in the room, you're going to start out with an f4. You're going to adjust your ISO accordingly. Most cameras or mirrorless cameras nowadays can go up to, 13,000 ISO, which is crazy, because I remember when I had a camera that could only go up to 6,400, right? So you can adjust these cameras according to what you need to shoot or what you are shooting, but there's nothing wrong with this. And another thing about this camera, which is amazing, I had a camera, zoom camera, I want to say it was an EF 24 to 105. That camera had lens creep. And what lens creep is where you can take your zoom ring and push it out, and then your lens will slowly but surely creep down. Like, it'll slowly but surely just creep down all on its own. This camera doesn't have any lens creep, see? Doesn't have any at all. However, it even doesn't have any lens creep upside down either, right? So, even if you were to take it off, watch this. Hopefully you can see that. No, you can't really see that. Even if you were to take it off, it doesn't have any lens creep. Now, if we put this camera back on, okay, here's the cool part. With the weight of the camera, that is the only lens creep that you get. That was scary as can be. Kids, don't try this at home. This stuff costs too much money for me to be playing like that. I'll be honest with you, because if I would have dropped it, I would have lost it. But yeah, so yeah, it doesn't have any lens. It does have lens creep, but that's because the weight of the camera is on it, right? But otherwise, it doesn't have any lens creep. Even if you have and attach it right here to your chest mounts or your chest rigs, the lens won't creep down. That's not something that you have to worry about. And even if you are worried about it, it has a locking mechanism that locks at 70 millimeters, so it won't go anywhere anyway. And I'm glad that Canon did that, because that solves a lot of the problems when it came to lens creep, where photographers would be hiking and they'd be trekking. I've done this myself, and you'll have it on your Peak Design chest rig, and all of a sudden your lens will be sliding out, and it's like, huh, what's the point of that, right? But they solved that with the little locking button over here. But this is an amazing lens, my go-to lens. If I had to have one, I would be carrying this one everywhere I go. I would recommend anybody get it. It will completely complete your camera kit. Outside of, if you are a beginner photographer, outside of your 50 millimeter, your nifty 50, this is the lens to get. The moment you get your nifty 50, start saving your money to get better glass. This is the lens that I would get if you had to go and get some better glass, for sure. 100%. It does everything that you need it to do. So, let me know what you think. Please put down in the comments what lenses you use. What is your go-to lens? Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. I would love to hear from you. Please like this video. Subscribe to my channel. I can't build, I can't grow without you. I look forward to being able to offer you more. I look forward to be able to give you more, whether it's tutorials, whether it's advice, tips, tricks, what has gotten me to this point in my career. I love to hear from you. And remember to use what you have to create what you want. And we out. Bye.